Hey guys, it's Mia here, and I have to be kind of quiet today because it's currently 11 at night right now. I was just a little late making this video because I've been busy today. So, we're here to talk about another movie review. So, welcome back. Now, I'm talking about Breaking Dawn Part 1 today. We are almost done with this whole Twilight Saga marathon with one more movie remaining and no more books. Now, you guys know that I am no fan of the book Breaking Dawn, and that is after me trying to read it 3 different times. So it's not like I didn't try to read it. I really did, but it just wasn't happening for me. So I didn't read the book all the way through, so I don't have all the comparisons. I just wanted to say that right now. Now on to the actual movie review. In all honesty, I thought that this movie was absolutely boring. I mean, it's an almost 2-hour movie and nothing happens until there's 27 minutes left of the movie, and most of that 27 minutes is 12 minutes worth of credits. Now I know there is an end credit scene, but a lot of people don't really watch those, for one, and for two, I don't really care about the end credit scene. I know it sets up the whole reason the Volturi came there, but I don't really care. Now, I don't want to sound too much like I hate this series, but I honestly do not know why I liked it as much as I did when it came out, because it is just so boring. And let me talk about a couple of scenes that I did like. I loved the wolf scene, where we finally get to see how the wolves communicate, the chain of command, how the alpha affects the other wolves. Now, that was in the book, but this is where movies can do stuff that books cannot. I mean, yeah, we can visualize the scene happening as it's written in the book, but it is just so much cooler to me to not only get to see it, but to get to hear it, and the sound effects and the music, and just the low growling of the wolves, and just see how big they really are. That all fits together to make such a very good scene, and just to get to see Jake standing up for his friend, even though he doesn't really care for the Cullens, he is willing to throw away his entire life for his friend, and that's just commendable. Now, aside from that, this whole movie is intensely boring. I feel like we're just intruding on someone's honeymoon, which, yeah, I guess that's kind of the point, but literally nothing really happens. And yet again, they've switched directors to a guy named Bill, so this has had, I think so far they've had a different director for each of the movies, which cannot be good for a series. And I feel like this director was like, why do vampires sparkle? That's so stupid. Because it seems like they completely forgot about the whole fact that vampires sparkle, because there are plenty of scenes when each of the vampires are out in the sun and they don't sparkle once. In fact, they don't even look as pale as they used to. They look like normal tan people. Now, I don't think the acting was as awkward in this one as I did in Eclipse, because like I said, in Eclipse, the dialogue had these really strange, really long, out-of-place pauses, and it just made it feel really draggy and really awkward, because it was like one person would talk, and then they'd have a 5-second pause and then they'd say something else. It was just so strange, and it made it seem like nobody wanted to actually be in the movie, and it just made everything drag out. But that is gone in this. It's gone. Now, I think the only reason I ended up watching this movie originally was because it was the 2-part sequel to a series that I enjoyed. Granted, it was another series I was kind of forced to watch by a friend when I stayed the night, but I ended up liking it, and it was that. But now as I watch and read the books back, I'm like, wow, this is so problematic. So problematic. Like, you got people falling in love with kids, which is not okay. And their characters are so stalkery, and it's just all bad. It's just all bad. But in terms of the wolf scene especially, I really loved the special effects. And there was something from the book to the movie that they changed. In the book, Bella had a dream where this little baby boy was at the wedding and had killed all of her friends, her family, and drank their blood and left them at a pile at her feet. But in the movie, they had changed that to Edward and Bella being the ones to kill them. And just the whole scene actually gives you chills because you're like, oh, she just did this. Now, I get that in the book, it was supposed to be foreshadowing for her little half-vampire baby, but I also honestly really like the change that the movie made, because it, in a way, kind of shows that Bella is worried about being a vampire. Instead of being constantly gung-ho to be one, she has stresses. And on top of that, it kind of serves as a way to show Bella this is what could happen with this choice you want to make. And it's kind of, in a way, a reality check for her, even though it is just a dream. So I really like that little change from the book to the movie. Now, there's not much to really say. Like, I'm not going to put any of the ending scene in for obvious reasons, but like I said, this movie is nearly 2 hours long, if not over 2 hours long. And I was bored throughout, except in the dream scene I just talked about, the wolf scene with Jacob finally standing up for himself and taking his place as Alpha, and was there one more scene? The scene where Bella was dying, to be honest. I wish she kind of would have stayed dead. Like I said, I hate Bella. Maybe not enough for her to die, though. Anyway, so I really liked what they did with the ending scene. Like, they really made her look dead. Like, I know that in the behind the scenes, she's like under a table with like a body cast over her or something. I like to watch the behind the scenes of things, so that's what I did. Now, here's the thing I have a problem with. And I know this is kind of like an ex machina and a reason to save Renesmee, but having Jacob imprint on Renesmee, who is literally just born, so she's a newborn, will never stop being creepy to me. I get that it had a reason in the plot, but there are plenty of other things you could have done than making Jacob fall in love with a baby. A baby. I don't care how fast she grows, how slow Jacob grows, she at that moment is still a baby. So that is just so creepy. I mean, it's the author's choice what happens. It is the author's choice. So she could have had him not fall in love with her, not imprint. I know that imprinting says you can be whatever you want to be for that person, but still, it's more like love. And that's not the first time she does that, because they don't show you with Quill? Embry? I think it's Embry. Embry falls in love with a 2-year-old and kind of becomes her nanny, babysitter, until she's old enough for him to date. Because Quill will grow slower because of his wolf abilities, and she will grow naturally. It's freaking weird. Like, does Stephenie Meyer not have kids? Because I thought she did. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Breaking Dawn Part 1. Once again, we're with the same cast of characters, not growing, not really changing, except for maybe Jacob. I think Jacob went through the biggest change this time because he learns to put more trust in the Cullens. And they don't really show you in the movie, but because of what happened in the last book and in the last movie, Eclipse, when Carlisle had to help Jacob after he got half his bones broken, Jacob kind of got this respect for Carlisle. And so he's slowly learning to trust not vampires but the Cullens and seeing them more as people. And that's part of his struggle. He doesn't like Edward so much because Edward is the reason Bella is in the situation she is in, and because he is his rival. But he respects the others. He sees them more as humans. And that's part of the main reason he left the pack to begin with, because he had this respect for Carlisle. But they never bring that up in the movie. And I thought that was a good touch in the books because it does show a growth in Jacob. And like he can push away the vampire werewolf hate to help his friend and this side of the family. So I wish they would have shown that in the movie, but I didn't make it and it's over and made, so I don't know. Overall, I just think this movie is so boring. I could have taken a nap. Now, I have one more movie and we're done with this whole Twilight Saga marathon. So, hope to see you next time. What are your thoughts on Breaking Dawn? And I know my camera keeps shaking. I'm sorry. I'm sitting on my bed because it's late. Alright, hope to see you next time. Bye, guys.